Hello guys, this is Paul McWhorter with TopTechBoy.com, and we're here today with episode number 110 in our incredible new tutorial series where you are unleashing the power of your Raspberry Pi Pico W. What I will need you to do is pour yourself a nice tall glass of ice cold coffee. That would be straight up black coffee, poured over ice. No sugar, no sweeteners, none needed. And as you're pouring your coffee, as always, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Sunfounder. Sunfounder is actually sponsoring this most excellent series of video lessons. And in this class, we will be using the Kepler kit for Raspberry Pi Pico W. I sure hope by now that all of you already have your gear, but if you don't, take a look down in the description. There is a link over to Amazon, and you can hop on over there and pick your kit up. And believe me, your life and my life are going to be a whole lot simpler if we are working on identical hardware. But enough of this shameless self-promotion. Let's jump in and talk about what I am going to teach you today. And what we're going to do is we're going to do our first real project utilizing a client-server relationship between a Python program running on your PC and your Raspberry Pi Pico W, which is wandering around the house on its own, and you're controlling things on the Raspberry Pi Pico W from your PC over Wi-Fi using UDP. I must first ask, this was the homework assignment from last week. How many of you were successful? If you were successful, leave a comment down below. I am legend, double chest bump. You might even think about leaving a little video on YouTube where you say, I am legend, double chest bump. Okay, because this is getting to be some pretty exciting stuff. We're getting pretty advanced in our skills here after 100 or so lessons, aren't we? Okay, now if you didn't do it, comment. I folded up like a cheap Walmart lawn chair, but hopefully you all got it, because really last week was the bread and butter of a client server project. And now we just implemented it where what your assignment was to come over here to this better view, and let's get that lined up. Just get that lined up absolutely perfectly. Okay, and let me get out of your way. So what your assignment was, you were to hook up 3 LED and 3 buttons. We're not using the buttons yet, but they're there just because probably before this project is over, we're going to use these buttons in one way or another. Okay, but what we have is the 3 LEDs. We've got them hooked up to the Raspberry Pi Pico W. And then we have this most excellent, I never remember what this thing is called, the BreadBoard power bank. The BreadBoard power bank. And after I had that lined up so perfectly, I'll never get it lined up that perfect again, will I? Okay, but that's going to just have to do like that. Okay, and now we got to show the power bank. And guys, unfortunately, the Kepler kit came out before these power banks were available, so your Kepler kit doesn't have one in it. But what you can do is there's a link down below in the description, and they're like $10, and you can order it off of Amazon. And I'm not trying to sell you little gizmos, but these are well worth it. And when you order, I would order 2 or 3 because I use these on just about every project that I do nowadays. And then if you guys are really short of coin and you can't get this, everything that I'm going to teach you're going to be able to learn even if you don't have one of these. It's just you won't be able to wander around the house. You'll have to stay powered over here through the USB, or you'll have to come up with some other battery or some other system to power your system. Okay, now let's see. What you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get that circuit hooked up if you haven't already. So you can go to the www.toptechboy.com, and you can look here and you can see the schematic for it. I clicked on it so you'll see it bigger, and I guess I should tell you what to search on. You'll want to use the little search icon to search on the lesson, sending data over Wi-Fi between Raspberry Pi Pico W and your PC. You'll get the circuit. Now, last week we went ahead and we got the basic core of a server written, and we got the basic core of a client written. So we want to go ahead and start there so we don't have to do all that typing again, because you guys learned this last week. So you come here, and then here is your server software. So I'm going to copy that. And then remember, I was doing the server on the left, and so I'm going to paste over here that server, and then I'm going to connect this one to the Raspberry Pi Pico W, and that connection was made. So I've got the server side, the basic server up, and now I'm going to come over, back over here, okay? And now remember that this imports this secrets file. So if you haven't already, you have to type this into a Python program. You have to save it as secrets.py, and you have to save it in your lib file on your Raspberry Pi Pico W. Okay, so hopefully you already did that. Now you need to come in and you need to get your client software here. So this is the client software. I have copied it. I will come over here and I will paste it. And now, just to make sure the universe is in the proper working order, let's make sure that this code still works before we go in and start modifying it. So I'm going to run on the left. I'm going to run my server, and it is up. It is going. Did my IP address change? No, my IP address didn't change. That scared me. I thought the IP address changed, but no. You can see this was the IP address, and then this was the IP address that we used over on the client side. Okay, so things are looking good. Things are looking good. Now I'm going to run the client side, and I should see data coming in. That's what I'm hoping to see. So let's run that, and we've got the client and server dancing together in this beautiful, beautiful ballet. And so now I'm going to stop the two. And now let me see. I think that I am now. So what do we want to do? What do we want to do? All right. So on the client side, I want to ask the user, does he want a green LED, a yellow LED, or a red LED? I'm going to, on the PC side, on the client side, I'm going to ask the user for color. And then on the server side, I'm going to turn on that particular color that he was commanded to do. And so I think this time it's going to be easier. I think it's going to be easier, maybe. It's going to be easier if we start on the client side, because the client program is pretty easy. So all this stuff up here, setting the client up, that will be the same. Now, our request message, we can still send, we can say send data. No, we don't need this line of code now. We don't need that line of code. I'm making sure where I am here. I am on the client side. I'm just trying to make sure. Yeah, so what I don't want to do is I want to start here. I gotta make sure that what I'm doing. Okay, so what I got to do is I'm not just going to send it that command, send me data. I'm going to send it something more specifically. So what I need to do is I need to get from the user what the color is. So I'm going to say my color, okay, is equal to an input, and I'm going to tell the user, please input your color, and then I'm going to tell it you can give me green, yellow, red, or off, like that. Maybe I'll say off. Okay, now that looks good. I need to close my quote there. All right, so that looks good. Now what I need to do is, we don't know, he might have cap blocks on or any crazy thing like that. So now I'm going to say my color is equal to my color dot lower. So that's going to change my color to lowercase. All right. I hope if I keep scrolling up, it won't get behind my head. So now I've got a lowercase, so I don't have to check on all the different ways you could type it in. Okay. Now, what do I want to do? I know what color I want, so I want to client, and that's already here. What I want to do now is I want to client underscore socket.send to, but instead of the request message, what do I want to do? I want to send my color. I want to send my color.encode to server address. Does that make sense? I've converted it to lower, and then I've sent it. Now, what I will get back is I say, send me red. And then what I will do is I will get data back from the address of the server. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to receive it, and then I'm going to print the received data and the data.decode. That's all good. Okay. And now I'm not going to put, you could see all that, right? Hopefully you could see all that. Okay, so I think you were able to see all that. But now I don't need to put a rest in here on the client side. Okay, why do I not need to put a rest in there, a sleep? Because it's going to pause up here, always waiting for the user to put data in. So that's going to kind of control our timing without too much trouble. I'll tell you, it was harder than I thought to do the client side first. I should have done the server side first, even though we got a lot more action happening over on the server side. So we're going to come over on the server. So it's just, the client's really easy. He asks the user, hey, what color do you want? Want red. Okay. Hey, he wants red. And then he waits to get the confirmation back that red was received. Okay, now let's go over to the server side. So on the server side, all this is good. Okay. And all of this is good. Okay, really, you know, I think I didn't need this. I didn't need this because the way I did this, that was really extraneous. So I'm seeing now that I didn't need that. So we'll take it out. Now this is set up, that's connect, and then that's connected, configuration, and then setting up the socket, all that's the same. Server is up and listening. WLAN config, that's all the same. Now, what am I doing? I am waiting for a request from the client. Yes, I am waiting for a request from the client. Then what do I want to do? I want to wait, and then I want to receive from the client a 1024 size packet, which is a nice size, and then request. Okay, so I'm going to get the data back, the request back, and I am going to get the client address back. Now, what is really, really important? This request is going to be the color that the client wants. So this request is going to be the color. This request that's going to come back, that is going to be the color, right? So I'm going to say, I am the server, and I'm going to get from the client the color that he wants. And so this would be more descriptive if I called it color, okay? And then down here where I print, I need to remember it's called color, so it is color that I need to decode. And really a better way to do this would be to go ahead and just convert color, because we're going to use it in a few points. So I'm going to say a few places. So I'm going to say here, color is equal to color.decode. So I decode it once and for all. And then when I print the request, all I need to do is just print color, because it is already decoded. So from the client request is the color. I'm going to print that, and then from the client, who he is, his address. Okay. Now I don't need this because this was just nonsense, right? That was just nonsense. Okay. Now I know the color he wants. Now I have to figure out what to do with that color he wants. Well, I better come up to the top, and I better set my pins up for those 3 LED. So what do I have? I've got the green LED, and that's going to be equal to machine.pin. and that was pin 18 in the schematic that I showed you, and then that is machine.pin.out, like that. Okay, and this is probably going to be easy to copy and paste for the other two. So we will do paste, and we will do paste, and so green, and then we have yellow LED was on pin 19, and then we have red LED was on pin 20. So those are set up now. Now we come down here and we have the color request, right? We have the color request. And so now what are we going to do with that color request? Well, if the color equal green, and remember I can say green because we made everything lowercase, so it's all going to work. And then what will I do? Well, then the green LED is going to be on, and then the yellow LED is going to be off, and then the red LED is going to be off. So there, I've set those 3 pins to what they need. Now the next if statements are going to be very similar to this. So I will copy, and then I will paste, and this time yellow. If it is yellow, then what's going to happen? Well, we better turn the green off. We better turn the yellow on, and then the red is off. Okay, now let's do it again. And now green, yellow, red. So this time green is off and red is on. And there was one more condition there. There was one more condition, and that was if we ask for off, we turn everything off, like that. Okay, we turn everything off. Okay. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. I think there's kind of like, all right, let's just go with this, and I'll come back and we might make some enhancements. So I'm going to server. Okay, so I've done all of those things, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure a response. So the data is going to be equal to. So this is what I'm going to send back to the client. LED space, and then plus color, which is already a string, concatenated with executed, like that. Okay, and then we send that back, that data back. So if you said red, then what do I say back? LED red executed. So if you ask for red, I'm going to report back that I heard that you said red, and what did I give you? I gave you red. So it just kind of helps us to make sure that everything is working the way we wanted it to. Okay, so could it really be that easy? Could it really be that easy? And then we've got that crazy print statement down there like that. Okay, so now let's run this thing. So we're going to start over here. We're going to start on the server side, and we're going to run it. Okay, and it's up and listening. Everything ran. And now this is the money thing here. And I'm going to move this up. We might have to move it again. Okay, so that you can see it here, and I'll get a little smaller, because this is really what you want to be watching here. And you know, darn it, I am going to have to move this. I'm going to have to move this because you're not going to be able to see it with everything else. So we got to kind of see all the important stuff at once. So our hope of having neat windows has just been dashed, because I want you to see this at the same time. And now I can come back up here. Okay, so now the server is running. We're going to run the client and see what happens. Okay, it's asking me for what I want, and I see I got an error there that I got to fix that. You see I didn't put a closing parentheses on that input. So let's fix that. I need a inside there. I need to close it. Okay. Now let's run it again. Okay, so what color do I want? I want red, like that. And I did not get red. Why did I not get red? Let's try a different one. Green. I'm not getting, oh, green came on. Yellow. Okay, something is not working here. Something is not working. So we're going to have to do some debugging. We'll try to get our Windows line back up. Okay, yellow LED is not defined. So I got a problem over here in line 38. Yellow LED off is not defined. Yellow LED off. So did I make a mistake on yellow LED? Yellow LED. I'm surprised it even worked once. Okay, I'm surprised that it even worked once. But let's run this again. Okay, so now we'll come back over here and we'll try running this one again. Okay, so now it wants my color. And so now I'm going to say red. Boom! We got red. Okay. Yellow spelled correctly. Boom! I've got yellow. Green spelled correctly. Green. Look at that. I have got this thing working. Now let's see if I turn off. Okay, now they're off. Red. Yellow. Red. And then off. Boom, look at that. Things that you can do over on the Python PC side, because what we would like to do is we would like to begin to explore building some little widgets on Python that could control things remotely over Wi-Fi on the Raspberry Pi Pico W. Okay, guys, that is your homework assignment. Let's see who can come up with the most bodacious example of a UDP over Wi-Fi project. Okay, I want to see someone out there I want to see come up with a really cool project, because I've shown you everything you need to know. All you got to do is think creatively now. I hope you guys are having as much fun taking these classes as I am having making them. As always, I want to give a shout out to my Patreons who are supporting this channel through their contributions, because these advanced lessons do not get very many viewers. And so the only way I can make this type of lesson is through the support that comes from my Patreon. So I want to thank you guys. You can also help me by giving me a thumbs up on this video, and also by leaving a comment down below. I hope you will subscribe to the channel. When you do, ring that bell so you'll get notification when future lessons drop. And most importantly, share this video with other people, because the world needs more people doing engineering and fewer people sitting around watching silly cat videos. Paul McWhorter with TopTechBoy.com. I will talk to you guys later.